Hey guys, Tony KD8RTT. I'm going to do a video on my little basic solar setup. This one has only a little bit of storage and a small panel, which I'll get into in a second. So this is kind of a shorter term, maybe I'm going to be spending a day outside the park operating maybe, or camping, but not going to be doing radio all the time. So we'll start with, it's a 30 watt panel. I got it on eBay like a year and a half ago, maybe. I think it was like 60 bucks. What I ended up doing was so it terminates to this box on the back. Comes out with these wires that has the standard solar panel connector, usually. I think they're called MCX connectors. I cut them off and took a short extension cord to lengthen it. So I'm kind of using this in a it's a kind of an uncommon way for these kind of solar panels, I guess. So I cut that up, soldered it, shrunk it, made my own little extension cable, and terminated it in power poles, just because that was the easiest. So again, that's a 30 watt panel, and that goes into this battery box assembly I made. So what it is I think it's a Group 24 size battery box. Inside it, I have stuck to the side. Let's see if you can see stuck to the side here is a charge controller. So obviously the power poles go into the charge controller. And then also in there I've got two 7 amp hour batteries, sealed lead acid, and I've got them wired in parallel. And I got some instructions for the charge controller, extra fuse. The charge controller I think I got on Amazon for around 30 bucks. It's not an amazing one, but again, I've got one 30 watt panel, so I don't need a lot of power throughput. So, yeah, it goes in the charge controller, and it's pretty simple. I mean, that's really it. You plug in the batteries. I use battery clamps to attach the battery, so I can use this with a different setup. I have a big 105 amp hour battery, which I could use this kind of to float it with, this panel, if I wanted to. So I've got battery clamps, but they're just clamped on these two batteries wired in parallel, which makes it pretty useful. I found that in full light, this panel will put out, so the charge controller, I should say, will put out around an amp and a half, I think, at full light, really optimally into the batteries, which isn't a lot, but it's enough to kind of offsets receive, I like to think. Well, if you look at most radios, at least on my Yaesu FT450D, I think receive only is spec'd at around an amp and a half, so it kind of offsets receive, which kind of lengthens the use of the batteries. Yeah, it's really that simple. I have other battery clamps from my radio. I'll clamp them on the battery to use power. There's a load output on the charge controller. I don't use that because it's limited to only a couple amps. So I've tripped it out. If I'm running like 100 watts SSB or even much lower, like digital, it'll trip that. So now I just clamp right to the battery. And it works pretty well. The charge controller, because it uses a PWM thing to charge it, sometimes you'll get noise. You'll hear it on the radio, so the noise blanker usually takes care of that pretty well on the radio. So not totally optimal, but it works, and it's a pretty good job. So that's really it. I wanted to make it small and compact, which is why I got basically everything to fit in the battery box and the solar panel. Before I had this contraption where I could hook up 3 sealed lead acid batteries, and this was mounted on a piece of wood with the charge controller, and it worked. It was really messy. Then I had to put the batteries somewhere else, so I wanted to consolidate it. So this was a recent project that I did for it. So just wanted to share that with you guys, maybe give you an idea, making a little portable power pack. Of course, you use bigger batteries. You could probably fit, or I'm sure you could fit a 35 amp hour battery with the charge controller. You could still fit it in that battery box, no problem. So that might be kind of a better way to do it for more long term. But I had those 2 batteries already. One was given to me, and I bought the other 7 amp hour a while ago, so I just kind of put together what I had. But yeah, it's pretty simple. These solar panels are going down in price, so I'll probably get them cheaper. I'm pretty pleased with it. It works. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions for it. I'm always looking to make it a little better. I don't use it all the time, but it's nice to have around. So, yeah. All right, guys. See you later. 73.